In an artist's studio, 1856, by Christina Rossetti. One face looks out from all his canvases, one self-same figure sits or walks or leans. We found her hidden just behind those screens. That mirror gave back all her loveliness. A green opal or in ruby dress, a nameless girl in freshest summer greens, a saint, an angel. Every canvas means the same one meaning, neither more nor less. He feeds upon her face by day and night, and she with true kind eyes looks back on him, fair as the moon and joyful as the light. Not wan with waiting, not with sorrow dim, not as she is, but was when hope shone bright. Not as she is, but as she fills his dreams. So there is 14 lines, an octave and a sestet. The rhyme scheme is written at the top: A, B, B, A, B, B, A, C, D, C, D, C, E. So this is first and foremost a Petrarchan sonnet, A because of the rhyme scheme, and B because of the octave and the sestet. There on the right hand side under sestet I have written turn, so that would be he feeds upon her face by day and night. It is the beginning of the sestet, the last 6 lines, and we call it the volta. That's the technical name for it, V-O-L-T-A. However, a turn or the change is also acceptable, but volta is first prize. So this is in an artist studio, as we can tell from the title, and you get the idea that somebody has walked into the studio, is looking around, seeing what is there, and there is one face that looks out from the canvases, and it seems to be the same person over and over again, painted in different ways. One same figure is either sitting or walking or leaning, and the people in the studio find her hidden behind those screens. So screens are usually a few panels that can be opened and closed, and generally what would happen is the person would change behind them, and as it mentions, a green opal or a ruby dress, summer greens, a saint, an angel. So depending on what the picture was going to be, there are going to be different outfits, different sets of clothing. So the person would go behind the screen, they would change into whatever's required next, come out from behind the screen, and the painter would then paint them. So we found her hidden behind the screens. That mirror gave back all her loveliness. So we're speaking about the screens and the mirror. So who the person actually is, the reality. So not what is imagined, not what is fantasized, not what is painted on the canvas, not what is being pretended, but who the person actually is behind the screen. And that will come in towards the end of the poem. And so whatever is behind the screen, that is acting as a mirror to see who this person actually is. And also the idea of her being hidden. And again, later on, as we continue going through the poem, the artist doesn't want to be faced with the reality that the person he has been painting has gotten older, has lost some of the beauty, seems to be fixated on the image on the canvas. So the mirror giving back all her loveliness is a way of the artist saying, just because she might not look like the painting anymore, just because this woman's gotten older, doesn't make her any less lovely. which is very, very important. Trying to give her some agency back, some dignity, some honor, which has been taken away by the artist, making her into an object, and I'll show you where that comes in. So the canvases portray somebody in green or ruby dress, so it speaks about the opal and the ruby. Ruby is a red stone, and green opal. Opal can be a number of different colors, also a little bit kaleidoscopic, so different little flakes of colors in the stone, very beautiful. But that signifies royalty, somebody like a queen or a princess wearing very ostentatious outfits, very beautiful, speaking about the jewels, etc. She could also be a nameless girl in freshest summer green, so what we would classify as the girl next door. So we have this nameless girl. Then she seems to be in a painting looking like a saint, or in another painting looking like an angel. And it says every canvas means the same one meaning, neither more nor less. So here is the beautiful woman. Yes, she's got different outfits, but it all means the same thing. Nothing more, nothing less. She's a woman on a canvas. End of story. Now we have the turn, the volta. And this is now the artist. He feeds upon her face by day and night. Now that is a metaphor. And when you think of somebody feeding, you kind of get the image of a vampire or a ghoul or some other kind of creature. There is definitely a negative connotation. This is not meant positively at all. Please note that. Feeds on her face by day and night. So you almost get this image of this artist surrounding himself with these canvases of this woman, completely unaware of the actual woman, but fixating, fantasizing about the person painted on the canvas. And she, with true kind eyes, looks back on him. And the description of her, fair as the moon and joyful as the light. So her face painted in these canvases has a true and a kind look. Fair like the moon, very pale in complexion. Remember, keep the date in mind. Very, 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 very pale complexion with rosy cheeks. That was the beauty standard. And joyful as the light. So perhaps she was that in the beginning. Perhaps some of that has still remained, but that's what he's captured, and that's what he's sticking to. And then there's a colon at the end of light. So that colon is there to add further explanation, to give extra information on that point. So she's got true and kind eyes, she's fair like the moon and joyful as the light. But what more can we say about that? Not wane with waiting, not with sorrow dim, not as she is. So this woman is still around, this woman is still alive, this woman is still very present. But what she is now and what is on the canvas are two very, very different things. If you are wane, sorrowful, diminished, it's almost like somebody pining after something, and they sort of withdraw into themselves and wither away because they're waiting. It's almost like they've put their life on hold. And that is what she is. And she is also dim with sorrow. And she used to shine bright with hope. And the image of her on the canvas fills his dreams. but not as she is. And that repetition is important because currently she is sorrowful, she is diminished, she seems to have lost that glow about her. She is not bright with hope anymore, and she's certainly not what is portrayed on his canvases. And again, coming back to the mirror, giving back all her loveliness, it's like the poet wants to say, we've seen behind the screen, we've seen the actual woman. And yes, she might be sorrowful and diminished, but that doesn't take away her beauty. Just because she's gotten older, just because she's been waiting for some kind of real acknowledgement, doesn't mean she's any less beautiful. Even though this artist seems to be obsessed and infatuated with what is on the canvas and not the actual woman that he's painting. So yeah, we've got the octave, we've got the sestet, the metaphor of feeding upon her face, we've got the idea of royalty. So those are the different types of woman that is being represented. Royalty, we've got a saint, we've got an angel, we've got a nameless girl, we've got the idea of the screen being a mirror, showing her loveliness. This is one person that is being painted, and then it focuses more on the artist's obsession. Yeah, again, the rhyme scheme, Petrarch and sonnet. The theme, I would say, is one of obsessing over beauty and not recognizing the real person. That is definitely there. Falling in love or fixating on a thought or a dream and not acknowledging the person in the room. There is also the idea of giving someone their beauty back when you do acknowledge them. So going deeper than just appearance, but actually getting to know the person, seeing the person's personality, looking beyond the outward appearance. Acknowledging a woman, so not seeing her as an object. Again, that line, the mirror gave back all her loveliness, we found her hidden just behind those screens. That a woman is not an object. It's not just something that you fixate over. They are their own person. They are their own being, their own thoughts, feelings, hopes, desires, fears, etc. And again, looking at the time period, definitely this idea of, oh, there you are, you're a woman, yay, and the whole point of view was to look pretty and get married. I know this is a grade 11 poem, but currently the grade 12s are doing the picture of Dorian Gray, and Lord Henry Wotton makes the comment that women are a decorative sex. And earlier on he made a comment that intellect and beauty, are not going to be found in the same person, which basically, when you read between the lines, women are pretty, but they don't think, which is a terrible thing to say. But again, I don't want to give too much away about the picture of Dorian Gray, but it ties in with this point. The next video will be the answers to the questions.